were only allowed to see 20 seconds of the body cam tape. The disturbing scene they describe as deputies served a warrant on the father of 10. The city under a state of emergency tonight, bracing for more protests. The Justice Department announcing a sweeping investigation.
Demands to see the body camera video finally met this afternoon. Andrew Brown Jr.'s family watched it 20 times before concluding the shooting was what they call criminal.
Dad got executed just by trying to save his own life.
Just 20 seconds of footage from one officer's body camera. Lawyers for the Brown family say at least 8 other deputies also recorded the events.
Why is it that they get to choose what's the pertinent parts of the video to show the family?
Krystal is related to the victim through marriage.
And they shot out the back window of his car. And he lost control. And he ended up in...
Go wrong. Both Louisville's mayor and police chief say they welcome the Justice Department's investigation.
I think that it's necessary because police reform, quite honestly, is needed in...
Gutierrez, we have to warn you, the video is disturbing.
Show me your hands! Show me your hands!
The dark body camera video from a Virginia sheriff's deputy shows him confronting 32-year-old Isaiah Brown last week.
Drop the gun!
The deputy actually saved this gentleman's life.
Brown's sister Yolanda told us she's still trying to process it all.
After you brought him home, I tried to figure out where the officer felt so threatened of my brother.
Tonight,
Abu Sadat has been trying to get care for 8 days, but he's been turned away by hospitals. Abu Sadat's brother is trying to keep him alive. He's not a doctor, but he isn't giving up. Alex Crawford from our partner Sky News.
In the immediate short term, Republicans seem to have the advantage. The census count matters because it determines how many seats each state gets in the House of Representatives. So under these latest numbers, Donald Trump would have gained and President Biden would have lost 3 electoral.
Set to mark his first 100 days, and our new NBC News poll shows a slim majority approve of his performance. 69% say that he's done well on the pandemic, but just 33% approve of his handling of border security and immigration.
It wasn't just a party that needed that relief. Every American needed that relief.
But what are Republicans saying about the president's performance? Real estate broker Rena Marie Moore is an immigrant and Trump supporter.
Do you feel that he's reached out to Trump voters like you?
Prices, and it's off-putting because it's just 100 days, and we're like, well, where is the direction of the country going?
How's President Biden doing?
He's not doing as good as the weather in North Georgia, let's put it like that. No.
Drew Ackles is a 5th-generation farmer who voted Atlanta.
Just ahead as we continue here, UFO sightings raising national security concerns. A series of mystery sightings in the sky are raising national security concerns now. Here's Gadi Schwartz.
Obama's Secretary of State. In leaked audio tapes, Iranian Foreign Minister Javad Zarif said that Kerry shockingly informed him that Israel attacked Iranian targets in Syria over 200 times.
He was telling the Iranians not to follow and go along with the Trump administration, wait it out, and a new administration, obviously a Democratic one, would come in and be more friendly to you. That was completely unprecedented. We've never had any.
He divulged to Zarif the details of over 200 clandestine Israeli military operations taken against Iranian targets in the last several years. He's always been confirmed. What an incredible disgrace. If this is confirmed, should he step down, in your view?
Well, I think it was confirmed. There would be no doubt about it. He would be asked to step down. I don't see how the administration...
Having a tense encounter in the Persian Gulf earlier this month. This, according to the Navy, as you know, a group of ships commanded by Iran's Revolutionary Guard swarmed 2 different U.S. Coast Guard ships on patrol in the Persian Gulf.
Crowds waiting for a shot of hope. As the coronavirus devastates India, people queue outside a vaccination centre in Mumbai. That wards are full. The few deliveries that do arrive are simply not enough to save the patients with COVID-19. I brought him to the hospital and we waited for hours to go in with him. I was trying to contact him all day yesterday. He had a mobile phone but didn't answer my calls. Today, the hospital called me to tell me he had died. The government is rushing to open new COVID-19 for many victims of COVID-19. At mass cremation sites like this one outside the capital, Delhi, the pandemic's grisly toll is clear.
Yes, Christine, there are definitely concerns that the actual predominance of the virus right now in India might be much higher than surging numbers that we are currently reporting. There are reports coming out that many people who have symptoms, but the government is not taking any criticism well so far. It is absolutely refusing firmly to admit any kind of mistakes on its part. Over the last week, we have heard about the government asking Twitter to take down tweets.
It's part of an international effort to bring the COVID-19 crisis there under control.
We'll work with other countries to ensure that we can help India. We're working hard on finding ways to get oxygen production.
Sometimes, friends, I get accused of being a class reductionist. I'm not. Anyone who denies the horrors of racism is a complete fool. Rich people have been using race to divide and oppress for hundreds of years. But what I do object to is how class has been conducted by Yale University researchers found that job seekers are judged by their class in mere seconds. And those who are assumed lower status are less likely to be hired and more likely to be low paid, regardless of what their resume says. The research not found solely among those born to rich or well-educated families. So, why do we talk so little about class when its influence pervades everything from school to religion to work to family? Well, we can rule out one reason it's and a race framing in order to build support for a particular policy. The class framing is significantly more politically effective. So this research shows that, despite leftward shifts in public attitudes towards issues of racial equality, racial framing decreases support for progressive policies across racial and political subgroups. Furthermore, the class framing enjoyed equal support to the race framing even among racial minority groups, but there was a significant backlash among Republicans to the race frame. It was really government handouts for lazy black people. Obama phones, which weren't even an actual thing, were really government handouts for lazy black people. You get the idea. Now, since racism is real and plenty of people hold both subtle and unsubtle racist views, this crap into framing every single issue as racial in nature. Housing, climate, drug legalization, zoning, everything. And look, they're not wrong that virtually every public policy disproportionately impacts black people because they are disproportionate parties. When the dividing lines are between the 1% and the 99%, then capital is in big trouble. The original rural populace of the late 1800s, they knew that. FDR, while certainly imperfect, knew that as well. Fred Hampton knew that. Martin.
Elite spaces, which is why the diversity obsession and more in those places drives me crazy. What is the #1 engine of upward mobile growth in America? It is community colleges. Do you know what the college which has lifted more people out up at the top than really focusing on and trying to figure out what are ways to live in a more harmonious society? And actually, your point is very important, which is that if you focus things on class, you actually can solve race problems too. So it's not denying problems.
If dies, then that will free up a place.
हमारे पास जो सप्लाई है मेडिसिन का, जो भी ऑक्सीजन का सप्लाई है, बेड ऑक्यूपेंसी है, वो डे बाय डे कम होती जा रही है. तो इंडिया में सिचुएशन इस टाइम पे बहुत बुरी है. क्या पता from bad to worse only.
This is Delhi, not some rural backwater. And the relatives of those queuing for treatment are trying to stop them from dying in the street.
My father is in a very critical condition. I'm getting no help. Please help me, please. My father is dying. I can't afford another loss. Yesterday I lost my younger brother.
In the city of Firozabad, southeast of Delhi, this man's family say they took him to hospital, but the doctors message to furious relatives that with no gas, there is no chance of life. And not surprisingly, they can't bear hearing it. The first delivery of breathing equipment arrived from the UK today, a humiliation-reliant India. And what use being the world's biggest vaccine producer when the vaccine rollout has come so disastrously late? Astonishingly, the Hindu festival of Comme was in a country where the official tally of 320,000 new COVID cases takes no account of the lack of testing.
और सभी लोग अपना खुद अपनी केयर करें, मास्क लगा के रहें, सफाई का ध्यान रखें.
Scenario from this global pandemic might look like, then Ghaziabad, east of Delhi, comes close. And who knows how many thousands of Indians are living and dying like this. And who knows...
In particular is the underreporting of the true scale of the crisis. Our health and social care correspondent Victoria McDonald joins us now from the newsroom. Victoria.
I think there is widespread agreement that the death toll and the case numbers are likely to be seriously under a global community. Now, you saw in Jonathan's report that this is starting to happen. The UK has sent 200 ventilators. But I suppose under those circumstances, that international aid might have kicked in sooner if the true...
instance. You know, I am afraid to even think about what those numbers will be like.
Why are some journalists therefore not prepared to tell the truth?
Television news, I hate to say it, but the majority of mainstream media tell this image of Modi as larger than the party.
But what is very surprising to us, where still people are wearing masks here and told not to gather in large numbers, but in India it seems where, after all, the position is far worse than it is here, it seems...
hands of this government to ensure that this doesn't happen. You know, it's not somebody else's job. And why is this government not doing it? So I think, you know, I think the blame is very clear why this has happened. I mean, I think people are foolish, all right. They cannot believe that people will take a risk of this kind for their own lives and for their own loved ones.
If that is the story in a place like Mumbai, what on earth is going on in the rural districts, which after all have very large populations too?
Of course, there's no oxygen. And of course, there's no testing. So people don't even know what they have got. And this is happening where you have a chief minister who's threatening people who talk about, you know, oxygen shortage and telling them that it surely is. And, you know, I don't know, there are no easy answers. And, you know, like you, I'm a journalist. I'm not in the business of trying to hide what the reality is. And for all of us who are in the trade, it's... I'm here!
So they talk about how much they love watching body cam footage, even when it's incredibly...
If you try to kick me, this is going to be bad.
I'm going home.
Stop.
I'm going home. I'm going home. I'm going
Quit.
Ow.
I'm not going to hold you.
This is good. On the ground. On the ground. Why are you doing this? Let's see where she is.
I'm going home.
And doing all those things. By the end, it was so obvious that she had some sort of dementia that you felt totally sick to your stomach over this. They go back to the office, rewatch the tape and laugh.
Yep.
That's...
I was like, all right, let's wrestle, girl. Let's make it. Right on the ground, all that stuff. Got her cuffed up. That was eerie. And I had her get the program. She showed up, and but the cuff was like here on her.
Since to be as brutal as humanly possible to them. And just please, if you're defending the police in this country, don't bother. Don't tell me, oh no, they don't teach them to be brutal. Oh no, they don't teach them that they need to escalate.
Cops engage in some sort of violent encounter. And so the video begins with Hop asking Jalali, the woman, if she had turned her body camera off during the arrest, and then pay what the culture is, at least within that department, but we've seen something similar across the country.
You're a lot of help. She's just very flexible and very. She's very calm. I car when first got there. And I was like, I'm gonna play. I was pushing.
For whatever it's worth, but I actually think that video we just watched is amazing because it shows you live action how culture forms.
Yes.
So she's uncomfortable with it, but he says, oh no, it went wrong of them watching it back at the office. She's covering her head a lot, going, I hate it, I hate it. He's going, I love it, I love it. And if you notice in that last video we showed you, she then turns around and asks him, like, was I?
That dude was yelling at me, I'm like, I feel you, buddy. I feel you. I didn't want to do that anyway, but I didn't. I don't know what I'm doing. And I was like, hey, you know what? I'm fighting. I know, I thought you were done. People started jumping in. Oh no, it's that. Is that blue team bowl?
Because didn't your boss say we'll talk later?
No. Oh, okay. Well, regardless, blue team or not, I use force.
When she says I calmed him down, she's referring to the witness who saw the
deaths from police shootings. That means cops shoot and kill 3 people a day, every day in America.
They're protecting and serving, Cenk.
Yeah.
They're protecting and serving.
No, they're killing 1,000 Americans.
Ending honor. Kali died at the scene. At this point, the identity of the man who landed on Kali, the man with Kali, was unharmed. A man who.
Side note, but right now, the most important thing is we've got 29% of the population fully vaccinated, 42.5% are halfway vaccinated. We need to hit that 70% mark in order to have herd immunity. I'm feeling hopeful for a couple reasons. I think a lot of theater about wearing masks. I still never understood why people were asked to wear masks outside when science and logic told us that the place that you were probably least likely to get COVID was outside, especially on a beach. Then people are less hesitant to get it. And I know that we don't want it to be that way, and there's a lot of judgment about people like that, but that's just the kind of world we're living in. I also want to say the American Psychological Association found last month of the past year and a half are much graver and stronger than any of us are even realizing. And I think, again, Israel has done it the best of any country. Get a shot, take a shot. If you get vaccinated, you can go back to real life. But all this stuff in the middle, there's just a lot of.
I think a mask is a good thing. But Sonny, another big hurdle has been the media misinformation, some of which aired apparently last night.
Yeah, it did air last night on Tucker Carlson's show. I think we have a.
The next time you see someone in a mask on the sidewalk or on the bike path, do not hesitate. Ask politely but firmly, would you please take off your mask? Science shows there is no reason for you to be wearing it. Your mask is making me uncomfortable. As for forcing children to wear masks.
Money to fund her real estate purchases, not BLM donation money. Oddly enough, only capitalists would have millions of dollars laying around. Not socialists. So whether she's lying about not taking donation money or she's lying about BLM, I've watched y'all raise money on behalf of Brianna's family, who has never done a damn thing for us. Talk about fraud. Evidence has shown BLM siphoned millions of dollars worth of donations into Joe Biden's campaign. Joe Biden and destroying black communities and businesses. The organization is committed to continuing its efforts. This just in! CNN admits to spreading propaganda. Via undercover reporting, Project Veritas saying, our focus was to get Trump out of office. Without saying it, that's what it was. Right? Correct, Charlie, because you just said it. He went on to say that they'll be selling fear around climate change. And with regard to TV ratings around false. Please be sure to tune into our sister station CNN for the latest in how you should be controlled by fear via climate change propaganda. Soon they'll stop using the term climate change and start using the term climate emergency. President Biden, who once fell up the same flight of stairs 3 times, has still not visited the border. Over a month ago, he took a break from falling up steps to appoint beloved Vice President Kamala Harris to head up the border crisis. It wouldn't be in LeBron's best financial interest to stand up for what's right. Conservatives are so dumb. An Arizona audit is set to move forward on the 2020 election. And we have no idea why playing and taking the seat that was rightfully mine. Once on board, I found that Delta only had white people in their first class cabin. Furthermore, they did not let me fly the plane, even though I identified as the pilot. Delta, not full of hypocrisy, they need to get more woke. Our final story is that Caitlyn Jenner has announced she'll be running for California governor once Gavin Newsom is recalled. Caitlyn, who won the decathlon in the 1970s, that are currently taking place all around the world because we don't want you to know they're happening. Good night. One more piece of breaking news, my freedom-loving friend. I want to tell you about 3 brand new designs in my Freedom merch line. The first is Fear Worship 20. It's scientifically proven to sarcastically wake people up who are living in fear. Bravery, not obedience. Oh, wrong outfit. The cancel culture design.